Hey, ya kiddos, time for the daily bread. Let's hear the ending to the flood story here with a promise from God. Daily Tract 230, Genesis chapter 9, verse 11 through 13. I will establish my covenant with you, and no longer will all that is flesh be put to death by the waters of a great flood. And henceforth there will not be a great flood to utterly destroy the earth. And God said this. This is the sign of my pact that I grant between me and you, and to every living soul that is with you, for perpetual generations. I will place my ark in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the pact between myself and the earth. Kids, so God makes a covenant here. What's a covenant? Well, it's a promise. Remember? God made covenants before that we've talked about, but a covenant is a promise. And God makes a promise that he will never destroy the earth again by a global flood. Again, this promise refutes the idea that this was a local flood, okay? We have local floods all the time. So if God was talking about a local flood, then he broke his promise. So, we had a global flood, just as God said. And he also says he's never going to do that again. And then he said, as a sign of his promise, which will happen for all the generations after Noah, God says he will keep this promise forever, right? And the sign of this promise is that it's going to be a rainbow, right? He's going to put an ark in the clouds, a rainbow. Now, I'm sure you'll say, Dad, wasn't there rainbows before the flood? And I'm going to say, no. Why not? Well, there could have been rainbows before the flood if it rained. Okay, you have to remember before the flood, it didn't rain. So if it did rain, then yes, you would have seen a rainbow, but it didn't. So after the flood, it did rain, and because all the water that was once underneath the earth is now in the atmosphere and a part of the rain cycle, right? And because it does rain, now we have rainbows. And so that's why before the flood we didn't, because all the water was underneath the earth, under the crust. And after the flood, it's all in the atmosphere and it rains and we get the rain cycle. So now you know why we have rainbows, and that's part of God's promise to us that will never flood the earth again. God bless. I love you.